Hi Chris, it was great seeing you again on Tuesday morning. As you can see, this slight before and after here. You can see it warmed up slightly during the lesson, but yeah, I'd certainly book in for an hour if you can for next week, because as you kind of saw, just to begin with, in terms of making these changes, the time just absolutely flies by. So let's have a little look here. We'll look at the before swing, so to speak, first. So we've got the plane line in here. This was before any kind of alterations were made, and you can see very, very steep out in front of the plane line, and from this position you can only do one thing, chopping across the ball and obviously holding the club face open as much as you can, just to try and get some loft onto the shot. So let's have a look at a couple of things that we did to try and get you to hit the ball straight, or to draw the golf ball ever so slightly. We've dropped the right foot back, which you can see here, which really aids rotation through the, as I said, rotation is always from the ground up, so aids rotation through that right hip, which is essential for getting this club a little bit more behind you. But of course, in dropping back the right foot and turning out the right toe, we've had to bring the ball position back. As the swing gets flatter, the lowest point of the swing is a little bit further back as well, so we've got to get that ball position to match. We've also gone on an ever so slightly higher tee, which is going to aid the flatter swing. But look at the difference here. Even in that takeaway, we're trying to turn the hips a little bit more, but also manipulate the club with hands and arms. So now you can see, I just need to tweak the plane line because the camera moved, but we can see you're actually tracking ever so slightly underneath the plane line, which is a huge improvement, massive change here. But of course you are just having a little bit of trouble in terms of squaring the club face. And if you look closely, you can see that just before impact, the club face is still very, very open, pointing way out to the right. And what I'm suggesting we do is, and of course this was leading to this real flicking of the club afterwards, you can see that pretty clearly, and that was actually causing a little bit of damage to your forearm. So what I was suggesting was we go to a much, much stronger grip, and get you more familiar with how to, essentially it's called towing down the club as you're working into the ball, as opposed to leaving the thing wide open until the last minute. So if we can preset the club face closed, working into the shot, and have this much shallower angle of attack, combined with a slightly higher tee, we can get you driving it really well. But as I said, it does depend on making sure the club face is square to slightly closed before you get to impact, as opposed to flicking afterwards. You can see there's a tremendous amount of release there, just trying to save the shot. So a much stronger grip is going to help with that, but also getting familiar with how to close the club face before you get to impact. But put it this way, you can't get flat enough with the backswing, so no matter how much you turn the hips and no matter how flat you try and manipulate the actual shaft of the club, it won't go too flat. So keep on working on that. We've just got to make sure that that club face is slightly closed coming into the ball, and of course that you don't lift ever so slightly through the shot. So if you do start just getting the ball a little bit clean, then make sure that you hit down and through the shot, but don't revert back to the old steep swing.